And that's part of our ministry to families too, and to the young people is helping them to figure out that balance and to have church be a meaningful part of their lives, but also not overwhelm them.
Hi there, and welcome to Tiny Pulpit Talks. I'm Reverend T.J. Fitzgerald, your Minister of Community Care and Engagement, and with me is
Reverend Beth Dana, your Minister of Faith Development.
Well, Beth, I am so glad you're with us today because our topic is something I don't know a whole lot about.
Really?
Really, because it's about raising our children in Unitarian Universalism. And I do not have any children that I am personally raising in Unitarian Universalism. And as the Minister of Faith Development, this is probably something you think a lot about, right?
I do. I mean, I was a child raised in Unitarian Universalism, and now I am raising children in Unitarian Universalism. And
you help other people.
And as part of my role, working with families who are trying to navigate all that.
There may not be a better qualified person for me to ask questions about raising children in Unitarian Universalism.
Oh boy, you. I don't know if I'm an expert, but
Well,
sure.
Here we go.
Bring it
Why
on.
should people raise children in Unitarian Universalism?
Why? Well, because Unitarian Universalist communities love and respect children and believe that there is a lot of goodness and wisdom and truth within young people, that it's not just adults' job to deposit that in our young people, but that we can learn from our young people, and we can walk with them on their spiritual journey and support them in that learning and growth. And I experienced that growing up as a young person in Unitarian Universalism, and I see that happening in so many ways, and in the ways that we are as a church. Whether it's our coming of age, teens sharing their spiritual reflections about who they are as Unitarian Universalists, or even our younger kids too. Asking them questions because they have things to share and things to say. And it's a community where young people are held and supported even as they go through hard times, or as they're figuring out who they are, and as they make mistakes. And it's an incredibly supportive place.
So take us through the ages and stages that someone would find if they came to this church, or if you can speak more generally. Like, when's the first class with a curriculum? What age?
That would be preschool age.
Preschool. And what kind of things do they do in preschool?
It's really story-based.
Okay.
Every week there's some story that is the starting point, the foundation. And it's often some kind of, children's book, but that has some message that is connected to our Unitarian Universalist values. And then they talk about it, in a preschool level way. And then they do some kind of activity around it, whether it's a craft or some active activity, or, that sort of thing. So, it starts earlier than that too, I have to say, because, before that is the nursery. And there's no formal curriculum there. But it's a welcoming and caring environment for our littlest congregants that is the first place that they really experience this as their church home. They experience the love and the care that this congregation has for them. And that's conveyed through actions, not through stories or crafts or formal curriculum.
And and kids at that age, they can see right through any of that anyway. So
sure,
they feel the real love and care.
And so as children grow, the stories become more complex and the questions become more challenging, and they're wrestling with things, and we're asking them questions about how would you handle this, or so it's really, again, like trying to draw out what is within the children so that they can learn from each other.
And then also the kinds of people that are teaching these classes, really, I know that you recruit and really want to work with people who also value the young people's input, right? It's a kind of partnership that is being built with the teachers and with the people that are in these classes, which I think is a little different than some other religious education at other churches.
Sure.
So
it's not like we are asking people to, well, one, you don't have to be a professional teacher. That's, some people are like, oh, I don't know if I have the experience that's needed to, work with kids in the church. You don't have to be a professional teacher. You just have to be a caring and respectful presence for these kids, and, be able to manage a classroom of them. So I guess there's a little bit of, a little bit teaching skills come in handy sometimes. But who is willing to explore stories and questions with the kids. And it really is a partnership. As a covenantal community, every class creates their own covenant, kind of their promises and agreements that they make to each other. And that includes both the young people and the adults in the room. Yeah.
I want to skip ahead a little bit because, we don't have, we could do this for years, which we should, but the three things I've noticed that seem to be things that draw people here or that are really stand out are sort of OWL, Odyssey, and YRUU. It's sort of what a lot of that work builds toward. Can you say something about what those three things are and why people should pay attention?
There's some acronyms that people
exactly.
are like, what?
People just hear it around here. OWL stands for?
Our Whole Lives.
Exactly.
It's the owl, the bird too, is the symbol, but Our Whole Lives, which is a lifespan comprehensive sexuality education curriculum that was co-developed by the Unitarian Universalist Association and the United Church of Christ. And with it being a lifespan curriculum, what that means is that there are basically different curricula within this larger series for different age groups.
Right.
Starting with kindergarten and first graders all the way up through adults. So my children, who are in first grade, are taking first grade OWL right now.
Great.
And they're learning about their bodies and about families and where babies come from, those sorts of things. Age appropriate, and then for us, the next level we offer is in sixth grade.
Okay.
And so they're learning about, puberty and relationships and all of those sorts of things. Then we offer it in eighth grade. They take a full church year of it.
That's the big one.
That's the big one. And a lot of young people, a lot of families come here because they want their kids to have
Absolutely.
OWL. And as is very understandable, some of these young people are like, I don't want to be going to church to talk about sex every week. Like, what are we doing? But then they're so glad they did it afterwards, and all that they learned, and then they become the experts for all their friends. And then we occasionally offer adult OWL as well, and young adult OWL. It's an amazing resource. Odyssey is our ninth grade program. So ninth grade is our coming of age year, like in many religious traditions, religious communities around that age. And so they're really delving into, what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. What does it mean for me to be a Unitarian Universalist? How do I live that out in my life? They are exploring spiritual practices, and
there's retreats.
There's retreats and pilgrimage at the end of the year, and it's a really pivotal year for our young people, and helps them then move into YRUU, which stands for Young Religious Unitarian Universalists.
Young Religious Unitarian Universalists.
Yes, that's our youth group, 10th through 12th grade, where youth leadership is a huge part of that. So, all along we are helping youth to kind of build their responsibility and their independence and their ability to, take on leadership roles in their communities that they are a part of. And they really put that into practice in significant ways when they're in high school. and partnering with their adult advisors to make all sorts of things happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to, one of the things that is so important at this church is to notice that even in our youth group, those folks in YRUU are often invited to and do serve as adults in the wider community. We have youth on our racial equity task force. We have youth doing other things. It's like, it's almost that the leadership, like we take it seriously here. Like some faiths say you're an adult after you do this coming of age, and we're like, so we're going to put you on task force that make decisions.
Or people say, you know, our youth are our future. Like they're our future leaders. No, like, they're our leaders now.
I know. In certain areas, it's essential in that conversation to have people who are living the results of this. And I mean, to just be in meetings with people who are 17 and people who are in their 80s to talk about the same issue gives you that perspective. I mean, so we see it as a major asset. And I think that's one of the reasons, you know, our young people feel heard, they participate. If anything, we try to manage that we're not overextending or giving too many opportunities, because school
trying to balance that. Yes, there's a lot of demands on young people. And that's part of our ministry to families too, and to the young people is helping them to figure out that balance, and you know, to have church be a meaningful part of their lives, but also not, you know, overwhelm them, because especially with our high schoolers, there's so many demands on them, and we don't want to stress them out.
Nope. And I've seen it in action. I've seen committees change their meeting times to fit better. And then even say, just because we're changing this time, if you still can't make it, that's okay. You know, that we really try to make sure that they can participate, but within all the obligations that they have.
Yeah. It's a wonderful thing.
It's a wonderful thing.
And rare.
And this is only a taste. I mean, there's we're all children, we're all still learning, but like this is for young children. All the many, just some of the ways that this community I have witnessed, and as we see, care for, nurture, and trust, and help to grow the future of this faith, which is now.
Which is also the present.
Exactly. So if this is interesting to you, if you have more questions, you can reach out to Beth, you can reach out to me. Please reach out, especially if you want to take part in any of these wonderful programs for your children, or as a supervisor, or as a
teacher, advisor.
So we'll, you know, some links down there below, and if you have questions, let us know. You can subscribe if you want more information, review our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. And with that, we wish you all well. We're so glad you took the time to listen today, and until then, we'll see you on Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye from Tiny Pulpit Talks.